giving the oath, they're not swearing to me, they're swearing to the flag. So I'm gonna recommend do like a little 4 or 5 degree angle here. For those of you that wanna take a picture, you probably wanna take it from this angle, right here. Good time to get to that and say swear to stand under. Otherwise, I'll hold the oath that you guys will make sure. All right, let's give a few seconds for things to move around. I'll get out of, call it from here so people get the proper angle. All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Kenneth James Hills,
Having been appointed a colonel of the United States Air Force,
having been appointed a colonel in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your new as on Rule 6.
So let me start off by saying, thank you. This is a team effort. This has required many individuals who have shown support, love, dedication, and presenting me with various opportunities, which I have strived to be able to take those opportunities when they are available. I'm going to first say, thank God for all of the opportunities that have been presented to me and my family, which, everything is possible through our faith and our belief. I want to thank Colonel Jimenez. Thank you very much on such short notice to be able to serve as a presiding official. For those who don't know, Colonel Jimenez has only been the installation commander at Hanscom for about a month and a half or so, and he has a responsibility not only for the base itself, which is a combat capability platform, if you will, but supporting various tenant units located on Hanscom, as well as the military retiree population across all of the New England states and most of New York. So he has a great area of responsibility, and sir, I appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be able to support this event and make this special for my family. I also want to thank Chaplain Luke. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. Also relatively new to Team Hanscom, and I reached out to your team a few months ago, and they said, hey, we've got a lot of chaplains that are moving in and out, and so I appreciate you being able to support us with the invocation and be able to give us that spiritual nourishment that we need. Emily, thank you for serving as the narrator. It takes a team to put these events together. This is definitely not a single person type of activity. So Emily, I know that we've only known each other for a short period of time. We're both in the PhD program here at Tufts University. She's a year ahead of me. She's one of our Space Force teammates, a Guardian, and she has done an amazing job being able to make sure that our family is getting recognized appropriately through the narration of today's event. So thank you very much. There are so many individuals I want to thank. I'm going to reference my notes because for those who don't know, I was up at 3 a.m. this morning taking a equivalency exam. So I don't want to leave anyone out from starting that process. So just first off, thanks to the Fletcher staff and faculty who have been able to provide us with this space, this opportunity to conduct this event today, especially Jessica, who I've been coordinating with. She's the PhD program coordinator or director. She has been shepherding along PhD students and ensuring that we have what we need to be able to focus on our academics and then focus also on these life events. So Jessica, thank you very much for all of the work and coordination. I'd also like to thank some of the faculty and staff. So Dean Herman, he and I were in contact a number of months ago when it looked like the Air Force was not going to fund this opportunity. And we looked at all sorts of different options. Then the Air Force came through realizing the value that this institution provides both to our national security as well as diplomacy across the entire governmental organizations. So thank you for all the help and support as well as the rest of the faculty and staff here. I'd also like to say very briefly. Thanks for all my fellow PhD students for showing up today. We've only known each other for a few days, but Ryan, Mike, Dave, are my Army brothers. We've spent only a little bit of time together, but I can already tell that we're bonding as a team. And then, of course, some of our civilian teammates in the PhD program. So Emily, Maggie, who's been our guide over the last couple of days as we've been figuring out, hey, how does this whole Fletcher School program work? So thanks for the rest of our Fletcher community teammates, and I look forward to the next few years together as a team. And then looking out across all of the different friends and family who have been able to support me along the way. So in the back, Jeff Gavioli, Lieutenant Colonel, Air Force Reserve. He and I were college roommates just a little ways across that river there a few years back, not too many years back. Our paths have crossed throughout time here. He's doing amazing things, both as a military officer and then in his civilian capacity. The last time we crossed paths was back in 2018 out at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, so in the Middle East. I think he was hauling some trash. I was taking care of ISIS at the time, and so it was great to be able to see teammates across the years.
We didn't even get to have a beer.
No, we didn't. That was unfortunate, but you did show me your C5. So for those who don't know, he flies the C5M, the largest aircraft in the free world. So. And then also Ryan Aldrich, he and I, we haven't seen each other for almost, it's been a few years. We did meet up recently here in Boston. He and I were lieutenants at my first duty station at Lackland Air Force Base back in 2003. We had a lot of great conversations in the cubicle farm that we operated in. And from there, we also ended up having a lot of great mentors along the way that I think helped us throughout our careers. And that's why I'm going to make a short transition by thanking a couple of those mentors who are here today. So Al Streeter, Colonel, U.S. Army retired. There aren't a whole lot of people from Maine in the military, I think we've discovered. I think I've encountered maybe 4 individuals who have hailed from Maine originally. And then when we do cross paths, we have a lot of great conversations, stuff about like blueberries and lobster and the Rocky Coast and pine trees and those type of things. But he and I served together at Yongsan under at least one of the Marine 2 stars, and which are again maybe a little bit stingy with their phrases, but have reasons to do so. And so please thank you very much for all the mentorship you provided me as I was going through a very challenging assignment there at Yongsan as an executive officer. And then another mentor of mine, Peter Dustin, U.S. Army retired first lieutenant. If you have a chance and opportunity, definitely chat with him about his experience throughout the military, as well as some of his experience here in the Boston area. He and I know each other from back when I was in Boy Scouts many years ago. We were leading a week where we developed young men into Eagle Scouts, and then our paths have crossed multiple times. And just a little ways away from here at historic Faneuil Hall in 2003, he actually commissioned me as a brand new second lieutenant. So greatly appreciate you making this journey, Peter. So, thank you. There are many other mentors who couldn't be here today. I'm sure Colonel Jimenez had an opportunity to chat with some of them, but just to list a few names. Tom Hesterman, my first squadron commander in the B-52s. Tom Jensen, who's my first squadron commander in the Air Force overall. Major General Hedlund, Major General Owens, 2 Marine generals who I worked for and learned so much about professionalism and working together as a joint force. Fletch Steves, who commissioned or promoted me back in mine ops for those who were there for the Lieutenant Colonel promotion. He unfortunately was not able to be here today. He is also making a transition as he just recently retired from the Air Force and then moving on to do things at Los Alamos National Labs, one of our national laboratories. I'd also like to mention Eve Mathers, Deuce Bissonette, and Mike Mannion. All of those gentlemen have taught me throughout the years about being a humble, credible, approachable leader and making sure that you're taking care of the team. Because when you take care of the team, they will take care of the mission, and then we're able to accomplish what we need to accomplish as national security professionals. Finally, I'd like to thank my family. So for my extended family who was able to make it here today, so Aunt Daisy, Aunt Joanne, there you are, taking photos, Aunt Lily, Uncle Don, thank you for making the journey here. This is a great event, the opportunity to be near family here at the Fletcher School with Maine only being a few hours away. I couldn't ask for more. I'm very blessed by having that. I'd also like to thank my brother Dennis. He is my rock. He helps balance me. We've had some great adventures throughout the years. We were actually chatting a little bit earlier about when we went over to the Prudential Center and got to see the entire city at the Prudential Center from when I think I bought a car in New Hampshire and we drove all the way down to New Jersey to drop it off at the Vehicle Processing Center to ship it back to Korea. So a lot of good adventures, a lot of good stories together. And of course, his son Trey, who is a great cousin to our two children, Eddie and Emily. So thank you for being here today. I'd also like to thank my mother and my father for all that you've done to help raise me to be the person I am today. Thank you, Gabe, for being a great grandmother as well to our two children. So we appreciate all that you're doing, and keep my father out of trouble, and keeping him active. My father, he lives in Florida, so you would assume that he'd be retired, but he's definitely gainfully employed by Gay. So as much as he tries to be retired down there in Florida. Finally, I'd like to thank on the family side Eddie and Emily. I know it's not easy. You guys have made you've traveled many places, which is awesome as a dependent to be able to see the world. Having been in Korea, having been in the southeastern United States, having been up in lovely Minot, North Dakota, being able to play in the snow, of all places. So, as Colonel Menace mentioned earlier, dependents really make significant sacrifices. My father, when he was a dependent, they spent time in Scotland, New Jersey, California, the Philippines. So it does take a lot of sacrifices when you're a military dependent to be able to move around the country and to be able to do all the things that most children aren't asked to do or expected to do. So thank you very much. So I have two small tokens of my appreciation. So this is not very small, but relatively small, right? So here's one for you, Eddie. There you go. Okay. You can open that later. All right. And Emily, here's more medium size. So there you go. But it's not the size that matters. What the size? And then I'd like to finish with thanking Unju. You've made many sacrifices, both in terms of your work life, in terms of your family life, being away from family, especially when they are on the other side of the planet. So Amy's parents, they're still in South Korea, along with the majority of her siblings, although she does have one sibling, and her sibling's family, her twin sister actually, that's over in Europe right now. So it's difficult to be able to get together as family, and having to make so many moves. So small token of my appreciation here. I didn't realize this was coming in a box. I thought it was going to be a bouquet. It's a little awkward. You want to set that back down. You don't have to hold the box. All right, so I think I made it to the most challenging part here. So again, I am very grateful for this opportunity to serve. Colonel Menace indicated that there's not a whole lot of general officers above colonels, and it's a very small percentage that gets to this point. But really, it's the opportunity to serve that I'm extremely thankful for. Less than 1% of the United States actually serves in the military to be able to defend the other 99%, as well as our various allies, mutual defense treaty allies, and then partners who have like-minded interests and values that the United States has. So this is an extreme rarity to be able to serve in the military, given the size of the force today. This is what I do, because this is a family tradition. Colonel Menace alluded to my grandfather. So there are tales that we can find, lineage back to the Revolutionary War, perhaps even before the Revolutionary War, but in immediate history, as Colonel Menace mentioned, my grandfather, he was an American who went to Canada, flew with the Royal Canadian Air Force, and then when the U.S. got involved, ended up transitioning back to the United States. My father was a dependent, and then he enlisted in the Air Force in the mid-1960s and served during Vietnam and in Vietnam. So we have a tradition of service. I have several uncles, including my Uncle Eddie, who passed away a few years ago. He's a Vietnam veteran. I also have an Uncle Chris, who's also a Vietnam veteran. And then I have a cousin who recently served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And his parents, Uncle Don and Aunt Lily, are here today. So this is just what we do. This is our family tradition, and this is our history. And I can't think of doing anything else other than this. Because that is what the nation requires of us. So, 3 things. This is very special being promoted here at Fletcher in the Boston area. First, just the amount of patriotism that is located here in Boston. From the Tea Party to Paul Revere's ride, there is no shortage of revolutionary history and patriotism that takes place here in this area. The second one is I'm very thankful to be here because this is almost like coming back full circle. So back in 2003, I was commissioned at Faneuil Hall, not too far away from here, by First Lieutenant Army retired Peter Dustin. So it's awesome to be back in a place where I kind of started this entire process. and my friend Jeff Cavioli was there as well as part of the team. And then the third and final aspect is being here, where we have so many teammates from different countries, different backgrounds, different organizations, because it's not just military power that is required to be able to ensure that we secure the values and interests of America and some more like-minded allies and partners. It takes diplomacy. It takes a shared understanding. It takes an appreciation for different cultures and values. And during my brief time traveling around the country, I think we have a lot more in common as human beings than differences we have. Not only here within America, where sometimes politics can get a little bit divisive, but just around the world. And I think if we just look at that core nucleus of what makes us human, then we can make the world a slightly better place. And when we can't, we compete. And when we can't compete anymore, we deter. And when deterrence fails, then we seek to be able to achieve decisive victory. And should we find ourselves in a situation like that, I am confident that the United States will achieve that type of decisive victory that we haven't seen since 1945. So with that, thank you all for attending today. Before I turn it back over to Emily, just to let you know, my children have volunteered to make balloon animals. That is their contribution to this event. So after you get a little bit of food, they've got a balloon animal table set up to be able to make those balloon animals. And let them know what you like, a dog, a giraffe, some other different creative creatures. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.